Welcome to the Impact of Educational Leadership podcast with ID3 for Isaiah Drone III. This show was designed to provide an exclusive forum on educational achievement gaps related to learner success while discovering relationships and family issues in a diverse setting. We're back again for another night of the Impact of Educational Leadership. This is episode 31. Let me tell you a little bit about Ms. Nina Taylor. Born and raised in Philadelphia, Nina Taylor is a veteran of the entertainment industry. Nina started at the age of 5 dancing and singing with her family. She is a professional actress, model, songwriter, musician. She has appeared in several radio and TV spots, including commercials for the 4-H Club, the Cincinnati Police Department, and a host of others. Nina has a bachelor's degree in science and in broadcast journalism and psychology. During her 30 years in radio, Nina became the station promoter and brought many outstanding national gospel artists to the great state of Ohio. Currently, Nina does production and voiceovers. She does freelance work in her own professional recording studio. Nina has an international news segment entitled The Gospel News that airs on over 400 stations across America, United Kingdom, and Africa. As we have here Dr. Melvin L. Mosley. And Dr. Melvin L. Mosley is the Chief Human Resource Officer for Patron Energy. He has over 20 plus years experience working as a strategic leader with talent development, performance improvement, and team building. Dr. Mosley holds a doctorate in management of organizational leadership from the University of Phoenix, a Master's of Science degree in human resources training and development from Aberdeen University, and a bachelor's of science degree in psychology, political science from Oklahoma City Christian University. Next we have here on the panel Dr. Dorethea Walter. She's a native of New York. Dr. Walter has dedicated her life to giving back to the community. She coached women's basketball at St. San Bernardino Valley College in California. Then she went on to earn her bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Albany and a master's degree in psychology from the University of Phoenix, Arizona. And she went on to accomplish her PhD in organizational psychology from Grand Canyon University. She is currently a dissertation committee's content expert with Grand Canyon University, a licensed life coach. Dr. Walter is also the proud president of the Brokenness to Healing Foundation, where she provides her knowledge, her support, leadership, and mentorship to our youth in the 100 and Beyond program. So with that being said, our topic tonight is benefits of HBCUs and why we need them in higher education. A majority of schools in the southern United States prohibited all African Americans from attending colleges from the times of slavery in the 19th century to the second half of the 20th century. This was because the overpowering majority of predominantly white institutions of higher learning disqualified African Americans from enrollment during segregation. As a result, institutions of higher education in the United States were established before the Civil Rights Act of 1964, known as historically black colleges and universities. Tonight, my first question is going to go to the Honorable Dr. Melvin Mosley. Dr. Mosley, the question to you, sir, is why are core values and leadership styles necessary in HBCU leadership for school culture to maintain their competitiveness in the world of higher education, sir?
Well, thank you, Isaiah. And I want to preface all of my comments to, I never had the opportunity to go to an HBCU. However, my doctoral dissertation was in HBCU, and it was revealed a lot of interesting facts that will go with our discussion. HBCU has its own core values and leadership style. For the most part, historically, all HBCUs are designed to provide a collegiate academic for predominantly African Americans, and today's culture landscape include other students of color, in addition to a very small amount of Caucasian students. In order to maintain both their educational, academic, and professional competitiveness, HBCUs are to reposition their curriculum and staff to meet the demand for global leadership. Global leadership is to be defined as curriculum and practicum to include the HBCU students, to include leadership in both theory and practical application. The suggested leadership component is a new one being advocated to the HBCU, yet it is essential for both fund development, accreditation, and strategic growth. We need to have an HBCU leadership team to expand the school's academic practicum offering of leadership relevancy, not only in the realm of higher education, but in politics and in business. This proposed approach will add value to the academic and political relevancy of the global importance. Lastly, this approach requires a redirection and paradigm shift for all HBCU and its leadership team.
Wonderful, wonderful, sir. Wonderful. As you were speaking, I could not help but to visualize the overwhelming response and the overwhelming term, and that's human rights. Because you said that not all African Americans, it's not primarily African Americans that attend these HBCUs, but HBCUs has been set in place, I feel, as a response to human rights campaigning to make sure everyone has a equal share in education, everyone has an equal share in addressing the impact of education in every community. So, sir, I like the way you manage those goal sets, and it was effective in the way that it promotes the effectiveness for educational needs for all students. My next question, thank you again, Dr. Mosley, for that response. My next question goes to Dr. Dorethea Walter. Dr. Walter, my question for you is, how can we inform African American students about the benefits of HBCUs and in a way to ensure a culturally sensitive and intellectually rich society for us in the future?
Well, thank you, Isaiah. I'll try to keep my answer brief, but I know it'll be difficult. I guess the perfect answer to that question would be, first of all, to inform our African-American students of the benefits of attending an HBCU. And we have to educate them on this wonderful staple that belongs exclusively to our community. Luckily, nowadays, thanks to movies, television, entertainers, the media, our students are more exposed to HBCUs. Let's take, for instance, movies such as Drumline, Stomp the Yard, ATL, shows like, A Different World, The Quad, and even musicians are getting in on it now because, as many of us know, even Beyonce, when she performed at Coachella, she had a backup band, which was an HBCU band. So, but what I would like to do at this time is to mention some of the benefits for a student attending an HBCU, and that can include, number one, they can get a first-rate education. And so, HBCUs have professors and faculty who genuinely care about them. They have classes and extracurricular activities geared specifically for them. They have Black history classes, and not only sports, but they have the famous marching bands, they have Black art history, they have all kinds of things that will cater to them. Students they're educated in a caring and supportive environment. There's lots of diversity. In our community, we're very, very diverse. You know, students have a sense of empowerment. They're afforded an opportunity to continue their own legacy, continue our legacy. Okay, they have the opportunity, like you may not be able to in some of the other universities. They can join alumni associations such as the AKAs, the Deltas, and of course the Qs. You know, and not only that, they have opportunities for scholarships and grants. And most of all, the most important thing is they have the opportunity to be around students, others that look like them. I mean, there are a lot of famous African Americans who attended HBCUs, like Dr. Martin Luther King, Oprah, Samuel L. Jackson, Taraji P. Henson, Rick Ross, Common, Keenan Wayans, and the list just goes on and on and on. But here's the thing. We must first encourage our students to attend any college. Let them showcase their own talents to you, because remember, at 17 or 18 years of age, they're really confused or conflicted about what direction they want to go, or too young to know what they absolutely want to do with the rest of their lives. So we have to listen to them, let us tell them what they'd like to do, even though some of us will still, as parents, require that they go to college. And as educators and mentors, we have to educate them on the richness of their history. Wait, let me change that to our history. We're talking from slavery to civil rights and everything in between to everything nowadays. Remember, back in the day, we weren't even allowed to read, let alone become educated. Many of us died trying to do so. We were not allowed to attend school. Basically, we were discouraged to think beyond our dilemma or discouraged to dream of anything that would help us achieve any type of greatness in life. So the powers that be did not want us in the same room, much less the same classroom or school for that matter. So I'd like to give you a little bit of advice. There's something called the Black College Expo. I'm not sure if a lot of people are familiar with it. It's called the College Expo, Black College Expo. And every year, I don't know about this year because of the pandemic that we're involved in right now, but every year they hold, in different cities, they hold all types of meetings where you can go to and gather information for these black colleges, African American colleges. And so now what a lot of people don't understand is that you can go to, they have them in like these huge, not coliseums, but you know, where they have convention centers. And you can go, you can attend, you can buy a ticket, you can go in, you can fill out the applications right there at the school's desk, and they can accept you right then or there. This is particularly good information for students who have not yet gotten accepted to college. So if you have some reference letters with you, you have your transcripts with you, and you complete the application at the desk, they can accept you right then and there on the spot. And not only that, they also have spots available for African American students who are student athletes. So they might be able to get a scholarship right then and there. So basically, you know, you can go onto the collegeexpo.com or Black College Expo and you can search it. But that, I did want to just share that bit of information because I've gone to them and I've seen just how great they are.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, one key word that for me it kept growing and growing and multiplying, and that word that you used was empowerment.
Yes.
It reminded me of a quote I read. I like to read it. It's from this book, and the quote is this: "I will persist until I succeed. I will persist until I succeed." And now the story is, in the Orient, young bulls are tested for the fight arena in a certain manner. Each is brought to the ring and allowed to attack the pick-ackler, who pricks them with a lance. Now, the bravery of each bull is then rated with care according to the number of times he demonstrates his willingness to charge. In spite of the sting of the blade, So henceforth, will I instill my students, my family members that are going to college, they need to recognize that each day that they will be tested by life. They will be tested by life in this like manner. And so they must know that I will persist. I will continue to try. I will continue to charge forward. I will succeed. I will persist until I succeed. And so, and they should know, and they will know that they were not delivered into this world in defeat, nor does failure play a course in their veins or in their lives. So I am not a sheep waiting to be slaughtered. I am a lion, and so these HBCU universities are instilling this principle, like you so eloquently mentioned, in these children, in the faculty, in the staff, the students, the enrollment. So I like how you pointed that out. I like how you gave us the opportunities of HBCUs and some of the benefits, because again, we don't have enough time to just go through all of those benefits. We have another special guest. Question to you, Ms. Nina Taylor, is how do you feel HBCUs can enhance communication skills, decision-making, and leadership skill development with students?
As a student, first, thank you so much, Isaiah, for inviting me to be on this show. And again, hello to our esteemed guests. I am so honored to share this platform with you all. But I am a student of an HBCU. I can remember, I have to take you back to how I was never told, oh, well, you can grow up and you can go to college and you can do this and you can do that. I had no one actually putting that into my brain. I knew I wanted to do a lot of things, but until one day when Dr. Arthur E. Thomas walked into our high school, what he was doing was going from city to city, from state to state, going into the inner city high schools where people like me in Philadelphia, where people in Chicago, where my roommate came from, people in Detroit, from Washington, D.C. He was actually going into the inner city high school and saying, guess what? I did it, you can do it too. He was actually the first one that really, from his own personal experience, he says, listen, I was like you. I was in a gang too. He was in a gang with my father. My father remembered him. He said, he was crazy. That cat was crazy. He was crazier than me. They were in a gang together in Philadelphia. That's a long story. But he rose above that. He's saying, look, but one day you have to wake up and think about your future. And I'm here to tell you that there's another way. There's a way out. And yes, you can do it just like I did. And I think that was the main thing that had the impact on people like myself, like my roommate from Chicago, that said, yeah, I think I would like to try. It had people who were alumni of the schools who came in and said, listen, I'm just like you, but look at me now, and you can do it. You can even be better than me. You can be bigger than me. You can be anything that you want to be. And that was instilled in us before we even walked into the school, before we even got there, before we even enrolled. You believe that, and you came there and they said, listen, life is hard. It's going to be harder for you, but guess what? I'm going to make you smarter. I'm going to make you more intelligent. I'm going to give you everything and more that you're going to need, because whatever's going on out there, you got to be twice as big as that. And that is what was inside of myself and everyone else who attended an HBCU.
Wow.
That was a powerful word.
Amazing.
That was a powerful word.
Amen.
Amen to that. That was amazing.
And it was just like my father. Like I said, my father became a police officer after being in a gang for so many years. He didn't go to HBCU. He actually graduated from Temple, but nobody told him he could go to college. His mother did, but it was like, all I want you to do is grow up and be somebody and get a job and go. But it was just put into us because they know what we came from. They know what it's like growing up in the projects. A lot of them did. Dr. Thomas did. And like I said, he had an impact on me and so many others that we all came. The enrollment was huge that following year. He decided to go out and just go from city to city and just go into the inner city high schools and tell them. And the enrollment was huge. We had a huge band, and it was just an awesome experience. And as we traveled the country, I was also in the marching band, traveled the country, and went to other schools like ours, went to Lincoln University, Tennessee State, Kentucky State. We saw there's other kids just like us. We all have the same experience, and we're all going to be great because we're all great right now. And that is one of the main things I think is the greatest thing about attending a historically black college is that you learn who you are.
Exactly.
You know, I want to thank you for that response, and I'm going to ask you to tell us a personal story. I'm going to ask you to tell us a personal story in a moment. I have to pick this man's brain. I have to pick, and I want him to take his time to unravel this question, to unpack it, to unload it. Many people that don't know, I'm going to tell you, there is a wealth of information on this panel tonight. There's a wealth of information. And so I want you to just sit back and put your seatbelt on and listen to this response. Dr. Melvin Mosley, this is for you, sir. What are some goals and directions we should expect from historically black colleges and universities in the future to reinforce credibility, reliability, and validity with academic exploration?
Well, before I give a direct answer to the question, I want to applaud Ms. Taylor for sharing that with us about Mr. Thompson. And one of the things that I looked for while I was in high school and college was a black male role model, and I did not have it. I did not get one until I was in my 40s. And this gentleman is a mentor to me to this very day. In fact, I dedicated my dissertation to him. So I agree with Ms. Taylor in what she's saying, the impact of someone who cares about young people. Now, I probably wasn't young at the time, but the need was there. Now, based on your question, as described in my doctoral dissertation, HBCUs are to develop leadership competency and relevancy at the level of its teaching and board staff. Now, we want the African American students' education to mimic political and professional behavior and competency. Our HBCU currently mimics some educators who have never experienced the business world. There is nothing wrong with this perception, but a global approach to exemplifying leadership and modeling the practice of leadership is essential to the overall learning experience of African American students. Most white professors from predominantly white institutions fail to have an appreciation for HBCUs. For instance, during my doctoral committee, working on my doctorate, members, they've never heard of historically black colleges and universities. In an effort to reinforce credibility and reliability and validity, the HBCU has to have something by the way of curriculum and learning to leverage the overall leadership preparedness of the students. As educators, we have to model and expect leadership development, competency, and relevancy in our HBCUs through academic exploration and discovery. And the last thing I want to mention, that Dr. Walter had a very good point, and Ms. Taylor had a very good point. It's essential before they get to college. The issue is they want to spend, young people is different than when we went to school. I was driven. You couldn't tell me that I cannot attend a university, a white university. And I wish I would have attended an HBCU. But my thing is, it is at that time in my life and also in my career, you cannot tell me where my place is. My place is where I want to go. And this is what I advocate in corporate America. So just want to share that with you. I trust that redirection of where we want to enforce credibility, reliability, and validity in the academic realm within HBCU.
Let me just backtrack a little bit all the way to Dr. Walter, Ms. Taylor. Ms. Taylor, I'm calling you a doctor. That means you're sitting with doctors. So
you might be speaking something, right?
You know, but I heard so much on this panel tonight. I heard so much competency. I heard so much connection, character, I heard confidence, especially coming from Dr. Walter and Dr. Mosley and yourself, Ms. Taylor. With that being said, I would love to hear, I'm looking at the time here, I would love to hear a personal story about someone's experience in education or HBCUs. Who wants to go first?
I would love to go first because I'm wondering how many parents who might be listening. This is Dr. Walter, by the way. I'd like to just express what happened with me and my own children. Okay, so I was divorced and I raised my children by myself, and so I have two children, a son and a daughter. So I thought, I was doing them both a great service by bringing them up in a very diverse environment, okay? So, however, in lieu of being on this podcast this evening, I called my daughter and asked her, please tell me why it was that you wanted to go to, she had a heart set on going to an HBCU. So this is what she told me. She said that she wanted to go somewhere where all the people looked like her because she didn't get that in the diverse environment that I thought that I was doing so great. You know what I mean? And so she mentioned that she wanted to learn more about and be a part of the culture that included the dancing, the music, the bands, the food, everything that she said that she didn't basically get where she grew up. So, I had to sit back and I had to think, oh my God, what did I do? And so she did attend an HBCU, but unfortunately, this is the problem. This goes back to what Dr. Mosley was saying. She attended an HBCU, but unfortunately, she had to leave because they discontinued the nursing program. Now, the nursing program was their biggest seller besides their football and their band, their marching band. So they had students from all over the country with the marching band. They had scholarships. They had all kinds of things. They had students who wanted to because it was highly renowned for their nursing program. How could you just dismiss one of the most important programs that draws the students to your school? So like he was saying, we have to be leveraged with these other colleges in order for our survival. We have to. So, and like my daughter was telling me, she eventually graduated, but she graduated from a very diverse university, which she was not happy about. But it was a shock to me because as many relatives as we've got in New York, Alabama, California, New Orleans, I thought she had gotten enough culture, but I guess I was wrong. I just wanted to share that because, I was just trying to tie it all back together. And thank you for this time.
We needed that. We needed to hear that. Who's next? Who wants to go next?
I certainly have a million stories. I think, oh my goodness, I don't know where to start. Well, like I said, I was influenced because I was trying to figure out, I was always good at makeup and hair and stuff, and everybody's like, well, yeah, go to cosmetology school. And I'm like, no, I think I want to do something bigger, that, I want to go to college, but it was like nobody was really pushing me until that day. It didn't become something that I knew I had to do. But like I said, when I got there, I met so many people from, my roommate was from Chicago. We're still friends. I just talked to her yesterday. I'm still good friends with people that, and I did pledge a sorority. That was something different. I knew that people in my family were in fraternities and sororities, but I didn't really know anything about it because they had never really sat and talked to me about it. But I think the experience of being in the band was probably the best because, like I said, we got to travel. I actually ended up getting a music scholarship because I went there playing 2 instruments that I didn't think anything of. I didn't think anything of it. But when I applied and I asked about the music department, the band director says, "Oh, I'm gonna get you some money. I'm gonna get you some money." To get us in there because they were really trying to build, the band. And I only played 1 year in the marching band because I wanted to put on a short skirt and I twirled the baton. So I ended up, doing something else in the band, but I played in the jazz band and the classical band and all this other stuff. So I was still involved in music, but just getting to travel all over the country. We performed, our band was so hot. We performed at the Cincinnati Bengals games and also at the Cleveland Browns football games. Wow. We did the halftime shows. We would go back and forth and do the halftime shows for the professional games. I mean, that was everything. And getting to go to St. Louis and be in the, those annual festivals that they have where the HBCUs, it might be us in Tennessee State or Kentucky State and Grambling or whoever, they play a football game. And it's not for any reason.
I remember those games.
Just for any reason than just coming together. That's all it was. I see those were some of the best times of my life. I have thousands and thousands of pictures. And I think just how they just taught you. You were different. And tell me you haven't met a man from Morehouse and you just couldn't feel something different about him. There's something about a Morehouse man. I don't know what they teach them down on that campus, but you can smell them a mile away. It's just something that's within you that they teach you that carries with you for the rest of your life. It is. I think the confidence, most of us, I was quiet. You never heard 10 words come out of my mouth in a whole year, but I was very quiet when I got there. And they said, you're going to be on radio. You better learn how to open your mouth. The main thing is the pride and the confidence that you will not get anywhere else. You won't. You won't get it anywhere else. And I know. But it's more than that. It's a lot more than that at HBCU. They know you. It's like, you're me. You're me 20 years ago. And here I am. A majority of the teachers at that school were also alumni. You can't get any better than that. And that's what it is. They love the school so much. A lot of them come back and teach and stay there. And they're involved in the band. And the homecoming is incredible. I can't wait even today, I can't wait for homecoming. Just to get there and see all the old friends. It's a beautiful thing. It's just something that you have to really experience to really, to understand. You won't understand it unless you've been within it. One other quick thing is pledging. Pledging is everything. You got to pledge. Being a part of a fraternity and a sorority is just the most beautiful thing that you can be. I had goals. I'm going to pledge. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. On all these things. And I know you don't get that at other schools. I live 10 minutes from Ohio State University. It's not like that over there. Even to my sorority who's on that campus, they're not like we were. They don't have the closeness. They don't have the bond. They don't share. It's just different. It's different.
Listen, we still are listening for Ms. Taylor. Ms. Taylor, we are still listening to hear what instruments you played, what was the tuning key, what's the concert pitch, and also what did you play?
I played Sigma Gamma Rho, SG Rho, the Royal Blue and Gold. I played I played at the time, I'm retired, I played the trombone and I played the drums. Wow. And they thought, wow, that's so great. Wow. I just started playing the drums on my own. Me and my brother just kind of picked it up and just went with it. We know now that we're drummers because we're from the Wolof tribe of Senegal, who are the inventors of the drum. So now we know why 80% of our family play the drums.
It's classic. You are a classic. Listen, before we go, because you're just taking over this show.
I'm sorry.
Before we go,
no,
you're not. And
see, I'm in radio. I'm in radio. That's what we talk about. I'm sorry.
And you do it so well. Dr. Mosley, we want to hear one of your stories, sir, but just limit it to one for time purposes, sir.
I understand. Listen, first I want to commend Ms. Taylor for sharing that. The biggest thing that I learned in my life was the ability to communicate effectively. The mentor that I had, he was a black leader. Although I did not have the opportunity to go to or be accepted at an HBCU, I respect these institutions from their historical perspective to their potential to be the seeds of academic learning and relevancy for the new millennium. Lastly, my doctoral dissertation consisted of solving a problem of the misalignment of values and mission among HBCU presidents and that of their board. If there was a misalignment among the leadership, then the student population is doomed. Transitional leadership was a term I coined and originated in my dissertation for HBCU presidents who transition in their role as a school president within the first 5 years of their tenure. In the last 10 years, there have been numerous HBCU presidents who have resigned, was fired, or failed to successfully work with their board of directors successfully in three important areas: organizational development, institutional growth, and academic expansion within the first 5 years of their executive appointment tenure. So Isaiah, that's it, man.
I am so privileged to have such a fine panel this evening. Listen, we are out of time. We're going to do this again. But with that being said, this has been another night of the Impact of Educational Leadership. This is episode 31. I am your host, ID3 for Isaiah Drone III. Tonight's panelists are the Honorable Dr. Melvin Mosley, Dr. Dorethea Walter, and Miss Nina Taylor. Good night. Welcome to the Impact of Educational Leadership podcast with ID3 for Isaiah Drone III. This show was designed to provide an exclusive forum on educational achievement gaps related to learner success while discovering relationships and family issues in a diverse setting.